Tom and I want to talk to you about an idea, but before we do, is there anything you want to tell us?
That I've been here before?
It's only our lies that get us in trouble, the things we hide. Of course, I know you've been in here before.
And now that I know your secret, do you feel better or worse?
Better. Relieved, actually.
I am a believer in the perfectibility of human beings. When we are our best selves, the possibilities are endless. There isn't a problem that we cannot solve. We can cure any disease, and we can end hunger, and without secrets, without the hoarding of knowledge and information, we can finally realize our potential.
On the set. This is Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the April 25th, 2017 edition of the Weekly Podioplex. Brought to you on the Chronic Riff Network. This week's birthdays include Jamie King from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, comedian John Oliver, Gina Torres from Firefly, Bridget Jones herself, Renee Zellweger, Talia Shire from the Rocky series, Castle's Stana Katic, Smallville's Tom Welling, Doctor Who's Clara, Jenna Coleman, Jorge Garcia from Lost, Megan Boone from The Blacklist, and Kate Mulgrew, Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager. Starting with the box office reports, it was a hard week to be a new release. At number 10 is The Lost City of Z, up 18 spots from 28, with 600 added screens. At number 9 is new release The Promise, debuting with $4.1 million. This title was plagued by early negative buzz surrounding the Armenian genocide by the Turkish government during World War I, which figures into the plot of the film. The conflict stems from the Turkish government's denial of the events, and members of an online Turkish message board launched a campaign to destroy the film's ratings. Since the first premiere of the Toronto Film Festival, the Internet Movie Database entry for The Promise received over 120,000 ratings, and more than half of them are 1 star. The other half are 10 stars, so the resulting grade is a useless wash. A far more useful measure of the popular reception is the cinema score. Opening day audiences gave the film an A-. Critics, on the other hand, gave it a 47% rating. At 8 is Gifted, down 2 from 6th. In 7th is new release Unforgettable, debuting to $4.785 million, and I'll explain that detail in the box office number in just a minute. But it's well below expectations, and with a C cinema score and a 24% critical reception, this title will soon be forgotten on these charts. Finishing off this week's bottom 5 is the last new release, with Born in China, premiering to $4.79 million and beating Unforgettable by a mere $5,000. That's on target with the last 2 Disney nature offerings, Monkey Kingdom and Bears. Audiences gave it an A-, and even critics were swayed by the cute critters into an 82% reception. The top 5 this week are nearly the same as last week. In 5th is last week's 4th, Smurfs: The Lost Village, adding $4.9 million to a total of $33.4 million. In 4th place is last week's 5th, Going in Style, adding $4.91 million to a total of $31.7 million. In 3rd place is Beauty and the Beast with $9.7 million and a new total of $470.8 million. In 2nd is The Boss Baby, adding $12.7 million to a total of $137 million. And in 1st place for a second week is The Fate of the Furious, adding $38.4 million to a total of $163.3 million and a worldwide cumulative of $908.4 million. And it will break the $1 billion milestone by next weekend. Oh, rough week for the newbies. Let's close out the box office report with a look at what was winning in years gone by. 5 years ago in 2012, Think Like a Man took number 1 for a second and final week with $17.6 million. 10 years ago in 2007, Disturbia won the weekend for a 3rd week with $9 million. 20 years ago in 1997, Volcano, that ghost is toast, was the winner with $14.6 million. 30 years ago in 1987, The Secret of My Success took the title for a third week with $5.6 million. And 40 years ago in 1977, Annie Hall took the box office crown with $5.3 million. The box office premieres for April 28th are taking yet another shot at Toretto and his family. This week's headliner is The Circle, a drama thriller starring Emma Watson, Tom Hanks, and John Boyega.
Before True You, it was like you needed a different vehicle for every single one of your errands. And no one should have to own 87 different cars. It doesn't make sense. It's the chaos of the web made elegant and simple.
Speed round, Paul or John?
Early Paul, late John.
Mario or Sonic?
Early Sonic, late Mario.
Introspection or communication? May.
Sorry, I'm thinking about it.
So that's introspection. Sushi or Soylent?
Sushi.
Ever owned a Velcro wallet?
Yes.
Velcro shoes?
Yes.
Velcro pants?
Yes.
What was the name of the receptionist who checked you in this morning?
Linda.
Joan Baez or Joan Crawford?
Joan Didion.
GIF or GIF?
I'm not answering that. There's too much at stake.
Would you like to go out with me?
It's very inappropriate.
Good. Quality or convenience?
Not mutually exclusive.
Needs of the society or needs of the individual?
Should be the same.
You're most scared of?
Unfulfilled potential.
A woman lands a dream job at a powerful tech company called The Circle, only to uncover a nefarious agenda that will affect the lives of her friends, family, and that of humanity. The Circle is rated PG-13. The second title is How to Be a Latin Lover, a comedy starring Eugenio Derbez, Salma Hayek, and Rob Lowe.
My papa always said,
Hi, Massimo.
you get what you work for. And I knew how to work it better than anyone.
Oh, I think I'm making you wet.
Finding himself dumped after 25 years of marriage, a man who made a career of seducing rich, older women must move in with his estranged sister, where he begins to learn the value of family. How to Be a Latin Lover is rated PG-13. And the third title this week is Slight, a drama thriller starring Jacob Latimore, Seychelle Gabriel, and Dule Hill.
Okay, anyone you want. All right? Okay. I want you to sign your name on that card. You don't need to hide it from me. We all should know which one is yours. Okay. Shuffle your card into the deck. Get it lost in there. Perfect. And there's a lot of things in our lives that can trap us. It could be a person, a problem. There's so many things that can wall us in. But these barriers only exist if we let them. You know, we can do whatever we want if we just believe we're able to. There's a card in here with your name on it, right? Uh-huh. Let's say 51 of these cards are too scared to trust themselves, too afraid to believe that they can do whatever they want. Okay. You know, your card knows there's no wall, no limit, no barrier. Okay. Is that your card?
No, it's a God. That's insane.
A young street magician is left to care for his little sister after their parents' passing and turns to illegal activities to keep a roof over their heads. When he gets in too deep, his sister is kidnapped and he is forced to use his magic and brilliant mind to save her. Slight is rated R. There are also 2 titles on this week's limited slate, and you can find both of those in the show notes. Next up is a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of April 25th, and this one is going to be quick and right down to business. I'll start with new releases on DVD and Blu-ray, and that list kicks off with La La Land, a romantic musical starring Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, and J.K. Simmons. Mia, an aspiring actress, serves lattes to movie stars in between auditions. And Sebastian, a jazz musician, scrapes by playing cocktail party gigs in dingy bars. But as success mounts, they are faced with decisions that begin to fray the fragile fabric of their love affair, and the dreams they work so hard to maintain in each other threaten to rip them apart. La La Land is rated PG-13. The other title is Underworld Blood Wars, a fantasy thriller starring Kate Beckinsale, Theo James, and India Isley. Vampire death dealer Selene fights to end the eternal war between the Lycan clan and the vampire faction that betrayed her. Underworld Blood Wars is rated PG-13. Swinging by new releases on digital video, I have one title. That one is 50 Shades Darker, a drama starring Dakota Johnson, Jamie Dornan, and Max Martini. While Christian wrestles with his inner demons, Anastasia must confront the anger and envy of the women who came before her. 50 Shades Darker is rated R.
I was screaming into the canyon at the moment of my death.
Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, the only title this week is The Affair, Season 3 from 2016, starring Dominic West, Ruth Wilson, and Mara Tierney. Season 3 of The Affair picks up 3 years after Noah's shocking admission of guilt at the murder trial of Scott Lockhart. Noah attempts to restart his life, but the damage wrought by his past decisions has made him a ghost of his former self. Allison has been raising daughter Joni alongside Cole and Louisa in Montauk, but Allison's past continues to rear its ugly head as Cole and Louisa attempt to build their own future. For Helen, life appears to continue on, but just below the surface of the successful business and a bustling home lies uncertainty with her boyfriend Vic, instability amongst her children, and an unshakable feeling of guilt. I'll wrap up the Homertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past, and I have one title there as well. That one is The Man of La Mancha, a musical from 1972 starring Peter O'Toole, Sophia Loren, and James Coco. This musical version of Don Quixote is framed by an incident allegedly from the life of its author, Miguel de Cervantes. Don Quixote is the mad, aging nobleman who embarrasses his respectable family by his adventures. Backed by his faithful sidekick Sancho Panza, he duels windmills and defends his perfect lady Dulcinea, who is actually a downtrodden prostitute named Aldonza. Man of La Mancha is rated PG. After this brief break for about a shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will continue.
This is the Emperor. You're listening to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. Eat it.
Welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner podcast. Join us, your hosts, Miles P. McLaughlin and Scott Herzog, as we serve up a delightful menu of science fiction interviews and news in the television, movie, DVD, and book world. Test your geek cred with trivia. Top off your meal with the Sci-Fi 5 and 5. Come visit the Sci-Fi Diner podcast at sci-fi-dinerpodcast.com or subscribe to us in iTunes. We're serving up sci-fi from here to the end of the universe.
And welcome back to the Weekly Podioplex. I'm Denise with your Quick Flicks. You guys remember my rant where I talked about Universal's new monster universe and how not entirely right the whole exploring humanity of monsters is? Well, guess who had her backstory and powers explained? Okay, just the backstory, not really the powers, but they all kind of tie into each other, I think. That's right, Universal's own 5,000-year-old sexpot mummy, Aminette. According to director Alex Kurtzman and actress Sophia Boutella, Aminette's father reneged on his promise to make her pharaoh after he sired a son. That betrayal led her toward the shuffling terror first embodied by Boris Karloff in the original 1932 Mummy. Are you serious right now? I just cannot even. Setting aside the outrageousness of the historical inaccuracies of that whole thing, they're going with the daddy issues storyline? Are you kidding me? Of Aminette, Kurtzman says the princess is a woman who wasn't content to be put in her place and wanted something more. I mean, it's obvious that she wanted to be Pharaoh, but maybe instead of having Daddy give her permission, she could have done what a bunch of other people did when they wanted power they couldn't have in history, and maybe just outright murdered him. Or her little brother. Murder. Butella adds, even though the princess has been put in her place, fans shouldn't expect Amanette to be the complete embodiment of fury. She is a princess, after all. She's regal, too. Butella says, these people never shouted. They were the most powerful people, but they were just calm. I don't know how she knows that, unless she has a time machine that we all don't know about, but whatever. Obviously I'm not the best person to be talking about this because I'm not an uninterested third party, but still, are you kidding me? Okay. Despite all of this, I'm interested to see what they do with her. If they have her go about killing her dad because he promised her something and then reneged, or she went and tried to kill baby brother to get the crown, and that's the reason why the home die was performed, if they're still going with the home die, I can overlook a lot of the problems I'm finding with the trailers and the descriptions so far. Not all of them, but I can slide. I can at least let a little bit of this slide, but we'll see. Keep in mind, just because I don't necessarily agree with something on the outset does not mean I won't go see the movie or that my mind will not change after the fact. In other apocalyptic female movie news, X-Men Supernova is officially titled Dark Phoenix, and that groaning you hear is definitely me. Dark Phoenix and her periodic resurgence is why I stopped reading the X-Men comics in their entirety. Cyclops sucked when he was with Jean Grey, and after she died, he actually became a good character, as did the rest of the X-Men cast. But whatever, I'm not bitter. Although Simon Kinberg has denied the Supernova rumors and played down the notion of X-Men Apocalypse's sequel tackling the Dark Phoenix arc, if you don't know, this arc is the one where Jean Grey becomes possessed by the all-powerful genocidal Phoenix Force and ruins every single comic arc she reappears in for the rest of all time. The new title seems to suggest that this is the direction the movie is heading. Dark Phoenix will not be the first time that the comic story has been brought to the big screen. It was realized by Brett Ratner in the X-Men Last Stand movie, widely regarded as the weakest of the series, and Ratner's butchering of Singer's Phoenix setup from the initial two films, and the source story is definitely considered one of the biggest crimes in cinema. Hopes, not mine, are high that Kinberg, or whomever winds up directing the movie, will handle things a bit better. Not my hopes. The X-Men series, I keep in mind I haven't seen Logan yet, but the X-Men series has been disappointing from movie one. In not apocalypse-related news, the Predator reboot has been bumped back to August 2018. While originally slated for a March 2018 release date, the film was moved up to February about a year ago, but now, according to Bloody Disgusting, Fox is pushing the release date of the Predator back from February to August. Normally, a big delay like this signals trouble with the production, but in this case, the delay is a good thing. The movie market has a lull in the 2 months after the holiday season, and the box office starts picking up in March. August ain't a bad place to be. And finally, sad news is Zachary Quinto says there's no guarantee Star Trek IV will happen. The future of the franchise is in doubt after Star Trek Beyond failed to hit the kind of box office numbers that Paramount was hoping for. The film was still a success, and both critics and audiences gave it favorable reviews, but it seems Star Trek IV's future is not that bright. Zoe Saldana recently revealed her hopes that the movie will get made and that she will return to the franchise, and now Quinto is echoing that statement, saying he hopes to play Spock a fourth time. Appearing on Today, Quinto confirmed his script is being written, but there's no guarantee that it will make it to the screen. He said, "I know that they are working on a script for another one, and we'll see how that all plays out. But the nice thing about that experience is that the time in between those big tentpole films allows us to go off and cultivate a lot of different creative experiences for ourselves. I'm hopeful that we'll do another one, but there's no guarantee." The mentioned script is being written by Simon Pegg, who tweeted about the project a few months ago and has been praised by Chris Hemsworth. Although Quinto was careful not to confirm anything about the project, recent news about the script and pitch seems to suggest Paramount is moving forward with a fourth installment to the franchise. Or, at the very least, it means the whole thing hasn't been cancelled outright. I'm hopeful a fourth movie does happen. Despite its flaws, I've enjoyed the reboot Trek and would love to see the USS Enterprise and her crew come back to the big screen. And that's it for this week's Quick Flicks. I'll see you guys next time on the Weekly Podioplex.
Thank you, Denise. And here we are once again at the end of a new edition of the Weekly Podioplex. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, please take a moment to get in touch. You can surf on over to the brand new homepage at chronicrift.com and leave an audio message right there on the website using your microphone, or you can write to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com. Of course, you can still tweet us on Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith. And I am Womprat99, like the creature Luke Bullseye is T16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronic Rift a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and you can find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook and Google+. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what the shows the Chronic Rift Network has to offer. We have Cyborgs, a Bionic podcast, the Batcave podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Generations Geek, Present the Transcription Feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, Doctor Who and Mr. Drew, the Home Game Show Version podcast, and so much more. If you have a Roku player, you can also find us there in time travel with the Chronic Rift's Roku channel, where you can find episodes of the Chronic Rift's adventures in the 1990s when it was a public access television show on the New York City airwaves. Check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who for the first time from the very beginning of the franchise and reviewing those stories in the Timestamps Project. Right now, the blog is in the 18th season, the final season with the 4th Doctor, and those reviews can be found at creativecriticality.wordpress.com. You can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as a cover designer. Check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make at that store supports the Chronic Rift Network. Your support keeps us on the air, and we appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets and the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of both Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures in drama, comedy, and action, worlds to explore in the depths of film. Get some popcorn, find your favorite seat, and I'll see you at the theater.